Hi everyone, welcome back to the Reddit drama channel with another Reddit cheating story. Before we start, please hit the subscribe button and like the video if you enjoy it. Also, please click the notification bell so you won't miss when another cheating story goes live. These simple clicks mean a lot to our channel, and thank you for your support.
She came home stinking drunk one night and then she confessed. My M61 wife, F55, cheated early in our marriage. I figured out why and worked on fixing things I did wrong. Her guilt feelings gave us a virtually dead bedroom. It took a long time, but we survived. This was 30-something years ago. We had been married 2 years. My wife had never been with another man, other than me. She knew I had before I met her, although not many. So she was curious, and I understood that part. It was a betrayal of trust, no question about that. I was putting her through her final years of college. We had one child, EPT positive on day 3, and the honeymoon was over. I worked very hard, long late hours. She was insanely jealous of a coworker, an actual beauty contestant with whom I shared an actual office with a closable door. She had no reason to worry there. I was a good boy and she was too, and way out of my league anyway. In fact, a few women pretty much threw themselves at me and I waved them off. No one who is cheated on should blame themselves, and I don't. But you can consider circumstances to understand it. New family, new career, very long late hours, and then they had me travel to trade shows showing off my work. I was away 60 days in year 2, a few days at a time. Also, it was only my second ever relationship, and the previous one was short-lived. I had no idea how to be a good attentive BF or husband, or that this amazingly beautiful woman needed to keep hearing how much I loved her and how beautiful she was. We were both so busy building our lives and caring for our child we really didn't make time for each other, but we did have a few nights we went out with friends. This guy definitely got into her head, a guy her age from college. I'm 6 years older, she was 23 at the time. I knew there was a vibe that didn't sit well with me one night when we ran into him at a club, but she said she was helping her friend, F23, get with him. And that was plausible. Anyway, I had to pick up the kid from the babysitter, and we fought briefly because I wanted her to leave with me. She said she needed to help her friend. Then I realized she was wearing no underwear under a short skirt and hose. Her friend backed up her story, but I was still mad. She wasn't leaving with me. I left, mad. She was driven home by the friend, stinking drunk. She swore nothing happened that night, still says that. When she got home, she was all over me, and I enjoyed that. Nothing seemed off the next few days. I let it go after I made it clear it was not okay. She seemed to agree. A half year later, we had just bought our first house. I did not sense anything was off, but we had grown apart. Mostly she was frustrated about my overwork, and we weren't getting together much in bed, packing, moving, and all the junk that goes with it. So things got cold, and I thought it was just us being busy. Eventually, she confessed, one afternoon after unpacking. We were trying for baby number 2. She kept putting me off. And then I could tell something was up. And she told me. Tearfully. In obvious pain. She told me about it. They had a class together. They met up in the month after the nightclub night. In his car. I needed details, she just couldn't. But I pieced it all together. She was obviously guilt-ridden. Sex for us was a duty for her, and she just went through the motions for a very long time. But I loved her before all this, and it hurt me to see her pain. I thought time would heal this. But the pressures of 2 children, living the middle-class dream, and all the life struggle with it just didn't do anything but make the time go too fast. We just subsisted. Sex every few weeks or so, I had to beg, she wasn't into it. Eventually, it got better after a dozen years. We started various role-playing games, and that at least got us going. But we had settled into the other pattern for so long I really didn't even know how to make her happy, and I mean I wasn't a good lover. She still wouldn't discuss what she wanted, but I did create little scenarios to make the build-up fun. Things like being the plumber needing to be paid. Or only consenting to a large purchase if I got sex. Sounds weird, but that was our thing, and we at least talked about that. So we got past the cheating, and now this next part is less of a cheating story as much as it is a story about what comes around and goes around. It's good that we found our thing. We had no idea what was coming next, early onset arthritis for her. Constant pain. Endless therapy. Doctors. painkillers, and operations. Multiple joint replacements. So another dozen years goes by without much sex. I wasn't going to push it, I knew she didn't feel well. If she wasn't in pain, she was drugged up. It is at this point I will explain this about my perspective on our marriage. I made a promise before God that included the words for better or for worse. And all of this did something else for us. We learned how to support each other. We learned how to communicate. She's a pro at seeing the unspoken cues, and I recognize that. While going through the progression of her disease, I did watch a little porn. I knew that was junk, wasn't so impressed, and turned to more reality-based sex resources. I was looking for how to make sex better for us. Honestly, I learned of the existence of the clit and the G-spot through reading the stories. But I had nowhere to go with that as long as she was ill. And then came the miracle. It started as bad news. The painkillers had damaged her health, and she couldn't take them anymore. Living with the pain was terrifying for her. But we took it on together. A hot tub and a pool for physical therapy. Actually, we fought about that because I'm a cheapskate. And since we were trying everything, CBD. She also just had to mentally get through it all, and amazingly she did. Energy ensued. And an interest in sex. And sex toys. And I got to use the knowledge I had gained. It's okay, you can laugh about that, because I sure do. But wait, there's more. COVID had hit just when we got to start using the pool. We got to spend more time together. And we were kind of like newlyweds. 54-year-old newlyweds. And we, tried out the hot tub. I felt like the pool was a little too open for our neighbor's view to go there. But we had broken the seal on our adventures. I mentioned toys. A little BDSM came into play, but not real BDSM. Shades of Grey books captured her attention. Then came Charisse Sinclair. We talked about how to do this. But I found I could not become a dom by reading. And she wanted a dom. So she brought up swinging. OMG, I did not react well. I didn't discuss it with her for a couple of months. But I did do this, I researched. I looked into swinging. I checked out Reddit sites. I found blogs. I subscribed to some of sites. No really, it was for science. Smile. After a couple of months, I came back to her with a proposal. Our deal was we had to get into a lot better physical condition to enter the swinger world. Especially as an older couple. But I did have a few images in my head about what the end result could be, thanks to my research. So we were both motivated. And you know what gets better when your physical conditioning improves? Sex. And wow, did that get better? It started in the summer. After a little strategic construction, our backyard pool got to be more private. I'm going to say right now that pool sex is way underrated. We did experience the issue of pool water not being very good as lube, but we made it work. But a weird thing happened. I lasted a couple of hours one afternoon in the pool. I thought it was just the temperature variations. Then it started to happen outside the pool. Some men find it frustrating not to come for so long during sex, but my view is I get to have 2 hours of sex as a 60-year-old man. And we had about 3 months of that effect. And since those amazing days leading into last fall, we have had a few swinger adventures. Hey, it has been great sex. And when you realize we went almost 30 years without much sex, well, I feel like I was owed this. Persistence has definitely paid off. We have stepped back from our speeding freight train drive into the swinger lifestyle. That has many other factors to it. But we are still very good together and good to each other. If this epic long story tells you nothing else, take this from it. Cheating does not have to be the end. And it does not have to dominate every aspect of your relationship afterwards. What we do to ourselves is usually way more harmful than any of the things that happen to us. And this is also true, shit happens. Don't leave for some other perfection, there's no such thing. Find a warrior to do life with, who will agree to fight through it all with you. And set your resolve together to love each other, and support each other. Even after cheating. And be patient. And forgive yourself. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell for any future cheating stories.